Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Upsurge Esports and our coverage of the Upsurge minor leagues today. Tonight's matchup will be the Wildfire Nighthawks versus the Drexel Dragons. I'm your caster today, Eric Desrex Patran, followed by my co-caster, Robert Sordo Santiago. And a very rushed intro, but we did have some drawbacks. We're trying to get to Champ Select as fast as possible. How you doing, Robert?
I'm doing well, but the Drexel Dragons, though, on the other hand, they're not doing so hot. They are going to lose all of their bans for game number one, just game number one, though, because of the technical issues that they had earlier in the day. But we do get into the pick bans. Elise is going to be the first ban coming out from Wildfire here. Very interesting ban, unless that is a complete target ban at Kaching. We haven't really seen Elise, be that top tier to get a ban, but I mean, if Kaching plays it a lot, then it's definitely worth it.
I mean, I'd beg to differ a little bit. I feel Elise is one that's a little bit more tournament specific. A lot of aggressive junglers do like taking that Elise because she fills the same role as something like Elise in, where she can be early game pressure and aggression and sets up great tower dives. Next ban comes in is going to be the Sona ban. And of course, Sona Taric, Sona Kench, Sona Galio, pair with anything and it's a busted lane.
Yeah, no, and even things like Sivert Sona have started to see win rates up to 60% within duo queue. So, I mean, it's kind of disgusting what Sona can do, the amount of damage. Plus, if you take her, the boosting strat kind of way, where it's like Sona Taric, Sona Kench, like you were saying, it is just disgusting. We've seen it dominate pro play. And another ban is going to come out as Victor. Very interesting, to say the least. I mean,
yeah, Victor not going to see the map. I do feel like this is a little bit more targeted. So now we just got one more pick to go through. The first pick for the blue side, Drexel Dragons. And there's so much on the table. Silas is available if they want to go for that. Of course, the Xayah Rakan combo has been big because you can try and bait the other team into taking Rakan, which makes it a weak matchup. They want the strong solo laner. They're not going to go the Silas route, instead going straight for the Vladimir.
You're leaving a lot of powerful things up, though. You're still leaving Sivir up. You're still leaving Yuumi up. Even though her win rate has been, pretty low, in competitive, she's been really strong. And now Ryze going to come out. And oh my goodness, can I talk about Ryze? This man, we all thought, his rework, it's going to be garbage. He's not going to be a good champion. We go to see it. He has 9 AP. He EQs, does 300 damage. And you're like, huh. Well, I didn't want to play League of Legends. Don't worry about it. As we see the kitty maybe being locked in here for the Drexel Dragons.
Yeah, going for the cat on book. They have to go for Sivir right here. Absolutely. Yep. If they're going to lock it in, it's pretty much the best lane other than Yuumi, Ezreal that you can go when you take the cat on book. So it makes for a very potent bot lane, but I feel like if you're on the side of the Burbs, as they have it in their name, the Wildfire Nighthawks, you want to grab a support. You want to grab that hard engage. Actually, you don't even need to take it right now because Drexel has no bans. They could just go straight for the ADC.
Yeah, they can just take Xayah here. And it doesn't really matter. I mean, they'll probably pick up something like the Rakan afterwards and be completely fine. Drexel can't ban anything. So, I mean, it doesn't matter. You can go with a Galio even in the bot lane and still be fine. I mean, they do take out J4. So it's most likely going to bans towards the jungle, things that Black Oreo Cookies does not want to deal with, as we just wait here for the timer to go down.
Gonna be a very slow draft because of these lack of bans, but a draft nonetheless. J4 was banned out. As you said, I would expect the Nighthawks to start looking at something like the Rakan or the Aurelia for their next couple of picks, because those picks synergize so well with Sejuani. Usually when you see Rakan, you see Sejuani. Very synergistic engages. As Wildfire Nighthawks choose to ban away the Rek'Sai, we got 15 seconds on the clock before we get into the second phase.
Yeah, no, but you still have things like Silas still available, so it's huge flex picks that can come out for the Drexel Dragons here. But like you were saying, with Wildfire here, they're most likely going to go with something like the Rakan, maybe Irelia, to try to help to combat the Vladimir. Basically anyone melee that they can put into that solo lane. And the thing with Ryze, you can always flex pick him, and that's going to be a Braum picked up. Okay, I like that pick. He can use his shield just to block the final chapter coming out from Yuumi, and a lot of the Vladimir and Sivir damage. So it's not that bad of a pick going into the composition.
Yeah, and it allows the Nighthawks to go for a little bit more of a defensive lane, but still have that very nasty spike if you miss position, because that's the thing about Xayah. You miss position, you don't pay attention to the feathers behind you, and the engage can be nasty in the bot lane. But look at Drexel. They're going for the tree. Oh, a little unconventional right here. We're going back to tank meta.
Yeah, no, Tree Boy finally come out. Tree SM, where are you at? I mean, it's not that bad. Even if you have to face a Rise in the top lane, it's not the worst matchup that you can ever pick. The issue is now, if Wildfire decide to pick something to counter the Maokai, that's when you run into problems. Things like the Renekton, as we see Kayn. Okay.
Ooh.
Interesting.
I definitely...
wait! Oh, they left up Mordekaiser. Oh, no, not like this.
Oh, it's time to get heavy freaking metal. The hover is there, but they haven't locked in just yet, so let's not get our hopes up too soon. We still got 9 seconds on the clock, and Mordekaiser has been wreaking a bit of havoc. We're not going to see him. They want to keep the color scheme. They're going to go with the Kassadin and get that very, very tasty roaming, assassinating type playstyle going through.
I mean, right now, for the side of Wildfire, they look disgusting to late. Both teams really look gross going into the late. You have Rise, Kassadin for the side of Wildfire. Sivir, probably the best ADC on the patch right now. Scales really well into the late game with the Vladimir once he hits 2 items and scales past that. Maokai here, you know, he's able just to get extremely tanky. And seeing as the fact that Xayah is the only AD damage, he can really start to stack MR to try to deal with the Rise Kassadin. So right now, Drexel is actually looking pretty good. The thing is, though, the engage coming out from Wildfire is really, really good. And especially since they have the Braum that can just use his shield to block the Maokai ult, you know, you start to run into problems if you're the Drexel Dragon.
And I'm honestly a little bit worried about not their overall composition, but the way these lanes are going to play out. One thing I do want to take a look at is the jungle, the Kayn versus Sejuani matchup. That's heavily Sejuani flavored, excuse me. Kayn needs some time to be able to get his alternate forms. On top of that, if he goes through a wall, Arctic Assault is going to chase him. It's very hard to play this matchup for the jungle role, and it's stuff like this that concerns me. It looks great as a whole team on paper, but in execution, you got to remember the lanes are critical to win, because all those plates, all those neutral objectives, they really add up.
Now the thing is, the Sivir Yuumi lane does win against the Xayah Braum, so they don't need as much jungle pressure as, you know, other lanes that are in meta right now. You know, if you would have put a Jinx in there, if you would have put, you know, maybe Ezreal into versus the Xayah, or even a Jhin, right? Vladimir does well into Rise and or Kassadin. So I mean, Kayn here, if he can just get his form pretty early around that 10-minute mark, and, you know, with the changes to his passive that they made a while back, to where you gain basically double your passive before 10 minutes, but it's cut in half after 10 minutes, that's when you start to run into a problem as a Kayn. So if he can get his form, I assume he's probably going to go Rost Kayn, but we'll kind of see once we get into the actual game what he'll do, depending on the Keystone. You know, depending on what he decides to do, will really dictate how Drexel will do in this game. If he gets ahead, though, he can basically one-shot the Rise with a Kassadin. Now that Rise can't point and click his W, it's now a slow instead of a root, unless you get the E first. That's where Kayn can take advantage and really do a number onto Wildfire.
Yeah, but to throw it back in the bot lane, the reason why Yuumi is so good, and the reason why Yuumi Sivir is so good, is just the lane poke can be so oppressive. You'll often see other teams, once they see the Yuumi lock in, they go for hard engage, they go for tanks. And that's what we're seeing over with the Nighthawks. They do have the Sejuani, they do have the Kassadin, things that can stick, get very close, and make that Sivir's life hell. That's the weakness of a Yuumi, and that's the draft that the Nighthawks are going for to try and counter it by the time they hit the mid game.
Yeah, and I mean, the thing is, right, if the Sivir is allowed to just free farm in the bot lane, it doesn't really matter what support she has. The moment she gets Essence Reaver with the PD, it's basically infinite wave clear from there. And even before that, the moment you get Essence Reaver, you can just QW the wave, and there's not much the Xayah can do. Yes, the Braum can use his shield to block the Q one time, but the cooldown between his E versus Sivir Q is just astronomically different, and Sivir will still be able to push the lane after.
But you cannot disrespect the amount of wave clear that Xayah has at the same time.
Very true.
Because the retract on the feathers is actually very brilliant wave clear on that champion. And the feathers, that's the biggest thing. The why Xayah is so good is usually take lethal tempo to get out as many feathers as possible and just try and strategically place them. You're constantly playing mind games with the ADC to see if they'll misstep, to see if they'll be in the wrong spot, wrong time. Because if one root comes through from those feathers, you can bet an engage is going to follow through from the Nighthawks. But we've been focusing on the bot lane a little bit way too much. What about this mid lane matchup? This very brand new to us, to put in simple terms. Kassadin versus Vladimir.
I mean, with Vladimir, he has become a champion that basically scales to 2 items. You go the Pro Rebel into Death Cap, and after that, you're just like, all right, let's fight. You know what? Come at me. The thing is, you're fighting a Kassadin who can always just R away, and unless you have the phase rush to get close to him, or you're already in melee range the moment you try to do something, very difficult, and Control is going to have a very good time into this matchup just because he can simply silence the Vladimir before he goes into pool, and with the Sejuani ult behind it and the Rise root, you know, you have so many different ways to stop Okami. So if they're able to stop the Vladimir engage, do not allow him to pool in the middle of your team and use his Hemo Plague on you, you should be fine if you are Wild.
Yeah, and then looking at Drexel as a whole, looking at these compositions as a whole, you can clearly see the win objectives and what they were really trying to dial in for. Over on the side of the Nighthawks, they're looking for a 1-3-1 composition. They want that Sejuani, Xayah, and Braum together because they can protect that Xayah to no tomorrow. Have the Rise in the top lane, have the Kassadin in the bot lane. Kassadin just doesn't get caught. He's Kassadin, Rift Walk for days. Meanwhile, on the other side, looking over at Drexel, it's more about skirmishing. It's more about getting those scrappy fights somewhere in the mid game and trying to scale that to the late game to take victories. And it does worry me a little bit, though, because if you're trying to find such engage against some of the best disengagers in the league, it makes me value the composition put up by the Nighthawks a little bit more.
Now, the thing is, for the side of Drexel, they do have a lot of pick, and it really does depend on how Kaching does this game. If he gets ahead, if he goes that Shadow Assassin, he will not be as relevant towards the late game just because Xayah can Featherstorm, Kassadin can R away, Sejuani can ult him, Rise, you know, his shield becomes disgusting towards the late game. But if he goes that Rost Cave, if he's able to hit a knockup into the Maokai, to the Vladimir, you know, with the Sivir behind, throwing her auto attacks, and, you know, you can't forget Yuumi as well with the final chapter. You know, it's a lot of damage. Yes, for the side of Wildfire, they do have a lot of engage, disengage and engage. Do not get me wrong. But it's the fact that if they're able to catch out the Xayah, the Maokai basically becomes unkillable because he's going to be building so much MR. And Rise and Kassadin will not be able to cut through.
Yeah, it's kind of like the old school Scion effect that we saw at the start of the year. Just get to late game, become a tanky wall of a champion. But that pretty much concludes the champion select for game number 1. We are going to throw it over to short break, but before we do, we got a little ad read for you and some big news that's been going around with Scouting Grounds. Now, have you ever wanted to know how you would stack up against other competitive teams in all skills and rankings? Think you have what it takes to compete at a higher level than solo queue? Then gather 4 of your friends and teammates and enter the free Upsurge Esports Open Qualifiers. Upsurge Esports is giving everyone, experienced or not, the chance to compete for a prize pool of $3,000, as well as an opportunity to qualify for the Riot Games LCS Scouting Grounds Qualifiers. This 2-day tournament will be on August 3rd and 4th, but registration starts this coming Friday. Again, there is no entry fee and anyone can enter, so strap in and get ready for the Upsurge Esports Open Qualifiers. We'll be right back with more UML action. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Upsurge Minor Leagues. We're already ready to hit the rift between these two teams right here. You see on the rift, the Wildfire Nighthawks, the Drexel Dragons. But look at this. Straight from the get-go, the Wildhawks are already looking for some cheesy tactics. They want to go for an invade 5-man strong.
Yeah, I mean, the Yuumi is by herself, so if they catch her here, this might just be first blood. They see the cat.
Right. The hunt is on. Leading the charge, it is returned. Gone from caster to the support role. Is it demotion, promotion? Not really sure.
I mean, could be both. Get some experience, come back to casting. Who knows?
It's going to be interesting to see how this game plays out, specifically in the early game, and how the lanes are affected, because I did hype up quite a bit the Wildfire Nighthawks to have the better lanes and to have the better... Well, I want to say later half of the mid-game when they start to split pushing, but you can't really talk about that without talking about the very start of the game.
Yeah, no, that's true. But I mean, the thing is, the bot lane for the side of Wildfire is going to be just pushed in constantly by the Sivir Yuumi. So it's kind of difficult to deal with. They have wards on Kaching here. Or no, they don't. They have wards on the red buff. That's about it. So there might be a vertical jungle. We'll have to see if Black Oreo Cookies can react correctly and go straight towards the red buff. But I'm pretty sure they'll just spot him out on the red right here. So now it really does depend on what Oreo Cookies wants to do. So this kind of tells me that for the side of Kaching, he's going to want to go towards the top side. And with Dark Harvest, it also looks like he's going to be going towards that Shadow Assassin Kayn, which is kind of interesting to say the least. For the simple fact that now you lose quite a bit of CC and disengage that you would have had if you would have went the Rost form instead.
And Shadow Assassin is pretty feast or famine.
Yep.
If he doesn't do well early, trying to go Shadow Assassin build, he's not going to do well. That's just the nature of going for that type of evolution.
But I mean, right now...
Looking at the bot lane real quick, I just want to point this out. Raijin has opted to go Airy instead of Meteor. So that means they're going for a little bit more of a defensive lane. Typically, you go for the Meteor because the Q, the prowling projectile, has its own slow, and Meteor will do more damage just outright because of that slow. But this says to me that the bot lane might be a little bit afraid of the Nighthawks.
I mean, at this point, the goal is just to protect the Sivir. She can do most of the damage in the lane. You don't really need the Yuumi Q to be effective in this case. You just want to push Xayah in. We already see a CS lead starting to form in the bot lane. And this is exactly what you want if you're the Drexel Dragon. Now, something to point out is that the Kayn successfully got the red buff in the top lane, red buff in the bot lane, and was also able to take his blue. So this is actually pretty massive. Unless the Sejuani took it. No, he didn't. So that Kayn...
Yes.
Or wait, no, Sejuani did take it. So both junglers take red. And then... Okay.
Not like this.
Wait a moment.
Yeah, that one just straight out hurts. Getting way too close, Lake. You gotta watch that positioning when you're next to the tower, especially against a Maokai. You can easily use that arcane smash, just push you in.
Yeah. I mean, it's not the biggest of deals for the Rise to die like that, because you just want your tier, and from there you just push waves over and over again and ward out correctly. So not the worst champion to die to, but still very unfortunate to die to the Maokai like that. This is just free stacks for Kaching here. Getting his passes a little bit.
Trying to get an engage on Kaching, but he's going to be able to run to his own jungle with no problem whatsoever. Black Oreo Cookies, however, has not been really doing that well in terms of early pathing, just getting completely outpathed by Kaching, and you're going to have to start covering some ground quite soon, because this game does rely on... this game plan of the Nighthawks does rely on having a good early game, and it's starting to look good for Drexel if they can keep this game going and going for that Shadow Assassin form.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I mean, we're still seeing the domination coming out in the bot lane. Xayah being forced out of tower. And this is the annoyance of Yuumi. Just, oh my god, such a nuisance of a champion. I mean, Xayah's still farming pretty well under tower though, so not the worst thing, only down 3 CS, but is really poked out. And then the advantage of having Yuumi is that you get to go teleport as well as the ADC. So Xayah will have to back here, get pickaxe, but Sivir is allowed to stay and can just continue to push the waves.
Yeah, that's going to be a huge lead for the bot side of Drexel. Just because Vanilla could only take that back with 1100 gold, that's why the pickaxe is there. That's why it's not something like Caulfield's Warhammer, which would do a little bit more. So now it's a pretty strong advantage going the way of Drexel. You can see the recall did come through. Caulfield's Warhammer is outright completed from the Sivir. So the laning phase is going to get quite interesting. There's going to be a lot of damage coming from Drexel's bot lane.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I mean, once Super Lazy can get that Essence Reaver, it's just going to be permanent pushing. Both ADCs are going to be going for that. But I mean, I definitely think that Sivir's wave clear with the Essence Reaver goes up as we see a gank onto the mid lane, but you're going against the Kassadin, you're not really going to get much of anything.
Ooh, Lake doesn't really have much mana, so Ral's going straight for the engage. Lake taking quite a bit of damage, starting to fall lower and lower as he hits the 300 health point. There comes the Twisted Advance, still trying to knock him back, throwing the saplings, throwing everything but the kitchen sink at Lake. Lake only surviving with 100 health. I think it's time to abandon that tower.
I think it's time to dive Lake here. You're going to need a Twisted Advance. Yeah, goodbye.
Yeah, it's just completely free in the top lane. He should have completely backed off from that, but look at
Kassadin is roaming up, though.
Yeah, Control coming up towards the top side. He is level 6, so he is going to have the Rift Walk as he continues going forward. That is a low health Maokai up there, but Control can't seem to get close enough quite yet, but here comes Kaching.
Rise is putting back.
A lot of damage coming in onto Control, but here comes the Realm Warp. It's going to be a 2-on-2, trying to even the odds. It is going to show up in time as Lake is able to pick up 1 kill. Control are going to turn this around. Kaching goes down. Control gets another.
Yeah, and this is really terrible for the Drexel Dragons here as we see a bit of a skirmish here. Heal fused. Nothing else really going to come of it. But again, this is really terrible for the Drexel Dragon. For the point that, you know, 2 of the best late game scaling champions, Rise and Kassadin, just got kills. They're both going to be able to start stacking their tier. And right now, this is looking scary, but 3 people in the bot lane.
Trying to find that Glacial Prison. Too close to the tower, the Spell Shield would have made sure that was boarded. So it was just a bit of aggression to relieve the pressure that's been experienced by the Nighthawks bot lane. But they were able to walk back up into lane, back off, possibly take a recall right here, but there's only 900 gold in the pocket, so it's not going to be an efficient one.
Yeah, it's a good gank there from Black Oreo Cookies. It allows for Vanilla to get the back off. But like you were saying, there's not that much gold. Sejuani trying to invade while the bot lane isn't there. Half HP, though.
Oh, and there comes the ultimate. Trying to use everything he can to stay alive, but Black Oreo Cookie getting dunked in the milk, going down at the hands of Ching.
Yeah, that was a really bad invade there coming out from Black Oreo Cookies. On top of the fact that he was less than half HP, you had no pressure in the bot lane, and even though you had pressure from Control, the Vladimir was able to get there first just because he conceded a bit of CS, and now you're allowing for Ching to be able to get his form a bit earlier. He's trying to look for something in the mid lane, though.
Yeah, kind of scoping around, going a little bit too far forward is Control, so Control's just looking to completely bail from this one. Has plenty of mana, so plenty of Rift Walks. He shouldn't be caught.
Yeah, Lake running away here. Can still get the kill on Croaker, though.
Now the fight continuing. Lake getting under 100 health. He's trying to bring it. Still, Oreo Black Cookies wants to show up to the fight to help out his top laner. He will be able to make it in time. Look at the seed run. Look at Rawl try his hardest. But Black Oreo Cookie will take him down.
Hits him with the thumbs up afterwards, telling him, nice job, bud. I mean, that was a complete chase and overstay from the Croaker here. And I mean, what are you going to do? You're pushing up without vision. Like, we look at the map here, you see vision towards the bot side for Wildfire, but we see barely any vision coming out for the side of the Drexel Dragons. We see 1 control ward on the map, no green wards, and you cannot be making plays like that when you have nothing in terms of it.
That oppressiveness in the bot lane is just so hard to match when you get that Sivir Yuumi combo, but meanwhile in the mid lane, A lot of skirmishing going on. Looking to join the fight would be Black Oreo Cookie, but he stumbles over a control ward. Forced to clear that before backing off, but Cha-Ching is in the area. Gets hit by the Arc Assault. They're just swinging back and forth, but only to scare each other off. Just a little fisticuffs, gentleman's agreement.
Yeah, no, hopefully Cha-Ching is close towards his form, but we do get a pause that the enemy ADC, or friendly ADC, whatever way you view it, disconnected for Super Lazy. So Control does have help in the mid lane, though. Black Oreo Cookie again shows up in the lane, trying to allow for his laner to push and maybe get a recall.
It's all about lane priority, but yeah, the ultimate being used onto Cha-Ching, and it's not really amounting to much. Double recall is going to come out. It does allow for the recall from Control, but you never know when that ult is going to be needed. We are getting into the final moments of the early game once the plates fall off in about 3 minutes.
And Black Oreo Cookie a bit too over aggressive there. Bit of a whiff. Goes wide to the left, but I mean, like you said, it's very important that now they know that Black Oreo Cookie does not have the Glacial Prison. So it's a big ultimate with a big cooldown. That thing's not going to be up for at least another 85 seconds. So in that time, I do expect Drexel to try to be making a play. They're sending towards the dragon, and this might be the play that they need. That's an Infernal Dragon.
Drexel here doesn't look like it's going to be contested from the side of the Nighthawks. Instead, they're just letting it go away, and Infernal does work pretty well with the composition from Drexel, given that they want to go for that mid-game skirmishing. They want that scaling to come in before the hyper-scaling starts coming out from the side of the Nighthawks.
Yeah, but the Nighthawks will trade for the Rift Herald in the top lane. So they do lose quite a bit with the Infernal. Now they're evened out at 1-1. And with a Cloud Drake coming up next, it's not the worst thing to be trading Infernal Drake like that.
Yeah, and then the bigger point about this all is that's Rift Herald picked up while the plates are active. So right away, dropped off by Black Oreo Cookie. This is easily going to be 3 plates getting picked up for Lake. He's going to be cashing in on a lot of gold, but here comes the teleport. Showing up now, it's going to be a 3-on-2 fight. Getting caught up is Black Oreo Cookies, ignited as well. Showing up to the fight as well is Okami. 4 people looking to take down the jungler of the Nighthawks.
Yeah, I mean, you get the turret plating, sure. But I mean, you do lose your jungler in the process. Cha-Ching holding the mid lane. Good rotation by him. Now you will lose plates in the bot lane. So overall, it still nets out in favor of Wildfire here. They get the 3 plates in the top lane plus the 2 plates in the bot lane, which goes solo over to Xayah. So now that's going to put her a bit ahead of the Sivir here, yeah, by about 400 gold. And I mean, that's pretty massive here.
Yeah, Return trying to be as much of a pest as possible, but returning the favor is right, Jin. Still more plates, looking to go down, trying to collect 1 more before they leave the area as Vanilla in return, but look at the setup going in the top lane. Meanwhile, Lake trying to clear the wave as fast as possible before the dive comes in.
Yeah, I mean, that's the power of Ryze now. He does have his ultimate, so now Overload does, I believe, 40% more damage. So his wave clear is pretty nuts right now. He can just EQ. There it is, just a free 300 damage. Flash forward, though.
Flash comes out, but a flash for Flash as Lake is able to burn one of his own. Black Oreo Cookie will show up to the fight as well, trying to find that stun. Cha-Ching starting to get critically low. Here comes the stun. Here comes Control. Rolf just completely on the run, waiting for the Arctic Assault and Rift Walks to start catching up to him, start closing that gap. Here comes one slow, the stun soon to follow, and he may be a tanky tree, but there's only so much damage you can take before you get chopped down, and Lake will grab the kill.
I mean, what are you going to really do here? You're fighting this fight as a 2v3, and the issue that's coming out for the Drexel Dragons is Cha-Ching and the Kroger here go way too aggressive in this early game without real vision. That's going to be the first tower going over to Lake, now sitting at 3-2, has his first item completed and is still sitting on 1700, has a massive gold lead against his lane opponent. And right now, that late game Ryze is looking even scarier than before.
And so much protection coming out of return to try and keep Vanilla healthy, but the poke's still coming in. Hands down, Vanilla's taking a whole lot of damage. The fact that he's able to keep up in CS and have a gold lead is absolutely astounding. So you got to give him credit.
So something I want to talk about and why I said ooh, if we look at Lake's items right now, he's going towards Righteous Glory. And we started to see this a little bit in the LPL and LCK, to where if you have a top lane Rise, you get your mana item and go straight into a Righteous Glory. It allows you to get more mana, be really tanky, and you don't need that much damage, more saying AP, you know, to be relevant. And it's just disgusting amounts of wave clear. You have catch potential, and it is just really annoying. Like, we're looking at it right now. He doesn't need more AP to do things. Final chapter does come out, though. Rom rooted up.
So does Featherstorm to keep Vanilla alive. Able to find the double root, trying to turn it around. Super Izzy's taking a lot of damage. Burns the ultimate. He's taking down, but will not fall. Now Vanilla in trouble. Black Oreo Cookie being the savior, taking down Cha-Ching, but Raw could not cancel that teleport. That patch did all sorts of bad things to you. Raw's going to follow suit and go the way of his teammate Cha-Ching.
Yeah, no, right now, Drexel is falling apart at the seams, and it's mostly due to Raul and Cha-Ching here. Both of them have all of the team's death. You know, even though they have 75% of the kills, having 100% of the deaths, you know, it makes the game difficult. That's going to be the Realm Warp into the mid lane, and there's going to be a lot of damage onto that mid lane tower, most likely the tower going down as well.
And Hemo play coming out. Lake looking to back off. They're trying to take down this turret, but the wave clear does go through. Getting locked down, trying to find the kill. Okami takes down one and returned, finds double in mid lane control. But now, damage is not done just yet. Looking for the ricochet crits to land. The Q gonna land as well. Boomerang Blade, Black Oreo Cookie will go down. The retaliation coming through from the Drexel Dragons.
Yeah, no, I mean, one throw into another throw, Cha-Ching able to do work there, but especially Okami here ends up taking two people down with him. I mean, we're waiting on him to get his items. He's going into the Zanya's Hourglass, which is not that bad, you know, all things considered here. Once he gets that death cap, though, as his third item, I'm assuming here, he will be putting out massive amounts of damage. And even with the Zanyas, he's still going to be doing pretty decent amounts of damage. We saw it in the mid lane while he just had the Hextech Protocol.
Now picking up red buff is Vanilla, who's been surviving that lane quite well. It's one of the reasons you take the Xayah. Not only does she do really good damage, she's good at staying safe because of the Featherstorm. The Braum was paired with that just to make sure that those Qs don't do too much damage and result in kills.
Definitely. I mean, both ADCs are starting to scale up. Xayah does have a pretty sizable lead here, though. Does have her Zeal all the way completed. Maokai, though, finds control.
Control getting a little bit caught out. Gonna use the Blast Plant, return there to provide some backup. Tommy gets a bit of damage in onto return, but Vanilla is there with the lethal tempo to start raining in feathers.
Yeah, we're starting to see a bit of Okami's damage. I mean, just hits the Q onto the Braum, puts him down to about 70% HP.
Oh!
This is the Righteous Glory. This is the power of it. Oh my god.
Able to find Raijin by himself. The book is open, but the ultimate will find no snares. Control coming over the wall, and so is Cha-Ching to ensure that the ADC stays alive. Meanwhile, Vanilla in the mid lane throwing all kinds of feathers at Okami, has been doing so well. 3-1-1, but the fight is not over. Black Oreos looking for the re-engage, eats a Q, and walks on out.
You know, I think the biggest part of this is we're now 19 minutes into the game, and Cha-Ching still doesn't have his form. Basically is a worthless champion at this point. I mean, there's no real other way to put it.
Oh,
you have a slow on your W, but that's about it. And they're trying to set up the death push. I don't know if it'll amount to that. You're trying to go onto a Vladimir.
This is a lot of time commitment for not a lot picked up. Okami able to dodge away with the blood pool. Here comes the Glacial Fissure, finding the knock-up. Lake will get the kill. This mean mid lane tower will go the way of the Nighthawks.
I mean, the tower was already low. They could have just probably went in with the next wave, but you do get a kill on off of Vladimir. Baron is spawning up in about 5 seconds, so they can posture towards it. I mean, if the Infernal Drake was a Mountain Drake instead, I would say, you know, they could probably take it. Xayah with the Rise are very good Baron takers, but they do only have the Infernal Drake, so Baron will not be on the table for them right now. This vision is set up for the Drexel Dragon, so now we really do have to wait. Kayn is going towards the Shadow Assassin and does have Shadow Assassin right now, so does become a bit more of a threat. But the thing is, who are you really going to kill with it, right? You have Lake having the Righteous Glory. You have Control, has Roa. You have Xayah, who has Featherstorm, and you have a Braum right next to her. So it's a bit questionable for Cha-Ching here to be going Shadow Assassin. I would have liked to have seen him go towards that Rost, even though he went Dark Harvest. But to each their own, and maybe he'll prove me wrong here.
And as we start to get to the team fight phase, eventually you're going to see the Nighthawks set up a 1-3-1. They have the double teleports. They have double strong solo laners who are capable of taking care of themselves. But if they do get into a team fight scenario, their comp works really well when being engaged on, because the Sejuani and Braum are really good at frontlining and holding back the aggro while allowing Vanilla to get in all those feathers with lethal tempo.
You know, luckily enough for Super Lazy there, the Kassadin is not strong enough to one-shot here. Cha-Ching trying to do something with Yumi.
Glacial Fissure does come out, returns taking a lot of damage, falls to about 300, will fall to the Hemo Plague. 1-for-1 exchange so far. Lake is getting closer and closer. He's basically unscathed, taking a bit of damage now from the Sivir. Out comes the Boomerang Blade. It will not be enough to finish off Lake just yet, but over the wall, here comes Control, trying to finish the job onto the Sivir, but falls in the process. A double kill goes through, almost able to pick up the triple, but Black Oreo Cookies having barely enough damage to finish the job.
It ends up being 3 for 3 there, but the dragon is not spawning? I thought it was. But no, it ends up going all right, but the thing is, once that Kassadin hits his item breakpoint, he's pretty sure he has his tier item after his next back. Once he gets that done, then he just becomes a monster. Both of these, you know, AP carries are just waiting for items. Now the thing is, Lake is going towards that adaptive helm, I believe, and that in and of itself is also interesting. You do need a bit of AP on this champion, so you can't go full tank. Bit questionable.
Interesting ping to come through. The Nighthawks might be looking the way of Baron. The pings are on. There is a control ward on Baron, so it will be spotted. Gonna clear out that control ward. The Realm Warp was most likely used to start the Baron, but the control ward completely dissuaded it. Teleport does come through from Rawl the Croaker. Shows up, and the rest of the squad of the Drexel Dragons showing up towards that Baron area as well, but not really getting too much in terms of vision.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much that can be done here per se. So both teams are just going to go back to wave clearing. You really do need, for both teams, the Sivir and the Xayah, to become relevant. They're waiting on that third item. Sivir going more towards that IE. Xayah having to buy the Executioner's Calling. There's just so much healing on the side of the Drexel Dragons that you really do need that Grievous Wounds, that the Kassadin did not build towards that. He didn't go Morellonomicon. Neither did Rise. So it's only going to be Xayah that's going to be applying those Grievous Wounds. And that's going to be massive for Drexel Dragons. That if Okami is allowed to just get through without any of those Grievous Wounds applied onto him, he's going to heal a massive amount and do ridiculous amounts of damage towards those drawn-out fights.
And with the stage of the game where we are at, with no inner towers taken just yet, Okami gets a bit of damage. And Control returns the favor.
Hello?
Holy moly. That was just a straight up backhand coming out of Control. He means business today, and now might get into another fight on the bot side. Cha-Ching looking to show up as well. That Shadow Assassin form is looking to claim its first victim. The ultimate goes through. Lake completely caught out. Will go down. The rest of the squad of the Nighthawks are towards the top side. They might be looking for a flank onto Okami. It's a question if they will be able to get there in time. Glacial Fissure goes out, and the Proto Belt working wonders to make him be able to dodge it. Oh, control!
Oh my goodness.
Disrespect out of Okami. Control puts him in his place. Holy moly.
I guess you can say he's in control of that situation right there. Just disgusting. Thank you. I'll be here all night, right? But disgusting amounts of damage right now coming out from control. Cha-Ching trying to do something to him. But again, he's way too tanky right now. Already has the Roa. Already has his Seraph's Embrace done. So it's kind of difficult. Now what's interesting to me is the fact that Wildfire just didn't go to Baron the moment that they saw Cha-Ching bot lane. They probably could have just started it. You had the Sejuani there, and you could have taken a fight right after. Even though you didn't have your Rise, the Kayn would have been there extremely late, and you don't have teleport on Croaker yet. So it basically would have been a free Baron going over to Wildfire. So bit of a mistake.
You also have to think about who's doing pretty well in this game thus far. At this stage of the game, I should say. Not as much in the early game, and that is Okami. Okami, Vladimir, it works well in Baron fights. When you're confined to that very tight space, that's when Vladimir shines the most. So the threat of that is very real. That could stop the Baron in no time if it's disrespected.
True, but when you have a Xayah that can use Featherstorm, when you have Braum that can use Unbreakable, when you have Sejuani there as well, there really isn't that much of a threat. The threat does get cut down quite a bit, just because Vanilla there can reduce a lot of the damage. And after Vladimir gets out of pool, he's basically just going to be CC locked and died unless he gets a solo kill. Speaking of solo kills,
Control might be able to escape this, though. Tries to Rift Walk, but Okami, right place, right time, still finds his damage. And with Control down, the Nighthawks are going to have to back off, giving a lot of priority over to the Drexel Dragons as they go after return. Starting to move forward is Raw. They're catching out the Nighthawks, looking to take up to the slaughter. But look at Vanilla. Vanilla being uncontested. So far, the Realm Morph goes out to get Vanilla and Lake out, but not Black Oreo Cookie, as he's left all by his lonesome, but is a fast enough Warthog to skedaddle on out.
Yeah, I know. Great Realm Warp there coming out from Lake does get Vanilla out of that sticky situation. But again, this is the power of the Xayah. They use everything onto her. They kill returned, sure, you know, but unless you're able to kill that Xayah, you still do have a lot of damage. She does get a return kill. And Okami, I don't think you want to take this fight.
Lake has been starting to become a beefy boy, going for both the Abyssal Mask and the Righteous Glory, so he's not exactly easy to kill. He's doing a lot of damage in the process as well as Okami tries to return fire, but he's eating a little bit too much. Lake going straight for the tower dive, and he's able to find it onto Okami. 1v1, he does it, but Raul is here, and so is Cha-Ching. They're making him pay for his sins. He tries to run. He uses that phase rush, and he's actually making the great escape so far, but Cha-Ching cuts off his escape route and gets the kill. But this is a response coming out of the Nighthawks as they go straight for Baron. Raijin all by himself. Out comes the Glacial Fissure, and the Yuumi caught out. Raijin goes down. Control grabs the kill. This Baron should be going the way of the Nighthawks as long as they can take it down fast enough.
Yeah, the Maokai is coming in though. Sivir is still alive. This could be the fight.
Return is very low, able to use his ultimate in time, but with Vanilla down, there's no way the Nighthawks can take this fight. Control and Oreo in full retreat. Oreo might go back over to attempt the smite steal on something that was a leash going his way, but Cha-Ching will grab it. Control over the wall, grabs one kill. Looking to grab number two, but the ultimate's being used out of Control too low. He falls to the floor. Black Oreo, you're going the wrong way. You are a far way from hope. He's just trying to get that Warmog to give him as much health as possible, but ultimately he has to face the Executioner. Okami taking him doing?
Yeah, Baron throws, Baron throws, Baron throws. That's exactly what happens to the Drexel Dragons here. Even though Cha-Ching is on the bot side, because he has those Moby boots, as well as the fact that Shadow Assassin gained so much movement speed going through walls, you know, you can't really do that against him. I mean, it was a good attempt regardless, But because Xayah wasn't there initially, you lost a lot of your damage, and you really only had control there trying to do damage to the Baron. If you had Lake there instead on the Rise, you might have been able to take it in time, but Cassidy does not do that much damage to Baron compared to the Rise, and that's just going to be a free Cloud Drake going over to Cha-Ching, and that's going to be the third Cloud Drake now. They are going to be fast, boys. Looking like the new Sonic movie out here. Woo.
Yeah, pair that up with On the Hunt from Super Izzy. They will be looking to make very quick, very aggressive engages. Really, the hero story for both of these teams will be Super Izzy and Vanilla, because we are at the 30-minute mark. They do have their third items, and they are going to be outputting a lot of damage. The safer these ADCs can play, the more help they will be for their teams.
Now the thing is, Super Izzy is going towards that that second Zeal item. Going towards 100% crit instead of going for any lifesteal or any armor pen, which to me is a bit questionable, because now you have the Sejuani with a lot of armor. Same thing with the Rise. So you're going to have to be able to cut through them. Maokai might be caught.
A lot of harassment coming through. Hemo Plague was used. The retreat comes out from the Nighthawks, and the turret will go down. The Hemo Plague used as a zoning ultimate to make the Nighthawks back off. And the Nighthawks, they're trying to defend the base, but they lost returned in the process. Support goes down. Control taking a bit more damage. Able to rift walk away as Cha-Ching getting hit, getting destroyed. Vanilla able to claim 1 kill as the rest of the Nighthawks able to back off and try their best to defend this base.
And no, the Rise does damage. He can wave clear, but not against supers. This is most likely going to be the base crack. That's going to be the mid inhibitor tower going down. Troll getting low here on the hunt.
Yeah, Lake having to back off. Here comes the ultimate from Rawl the Croaker. All they want is this inhibitor, but now looking for the engage. Control, Rift walks forward, going after Super Izzy. Super Izzy, critically low, stun goes through Rawl the Croaker. Control on the back line, finds Super Izzy. He's trying to find more carries, he's trying to claim the kills, but Raijin is able to take him down. Vanilla goes forward, picks a kill of his own, and Okami and Raijin on the run. The feathers come out, but the blood pool just at the right time.
Yeah, no, that ends up being a 3-for-1 in favor of the Wildfire here. So they are going to be able to start pushing down towards that mid lane. Cha-Ching is here though. Lake not in the best position.
He's a tanky boy. He's got partners. Vanilla, as well as returned, repay the favor from Cha-Ching being oh so sneaky across this map. Here comes the Hemo Plague, using it mostly for wave clear. Gets a burst of damage onto Vanilla, but Okami will be able to defend his tower for the time being, but there's going to be more minions and more bodies coming down the mid lane.
Yeah, I don't know if they'll be able to take this. Sivir is here. Rizzy is just going to be able... Oh, no. Return ends up putting up the shield, so that's going to be the T2 in the mid going down. But I mean, you don't really have any more objectives coming up for the next 2 minutes or so. So for the side of Wildfire now, it's more securing vision towards the Baron. But the thing is, if you are the Drexel Dragons, that Elder Dragon looks really spicy for you. An Infernal Drake plus 3 Cloud Drakes, that damage is going to be disgusting, and especially with Super Izzy, you have a lot of late game damage. Vladimir finally finishing that death cap, going towards that Banshee's Veil, now is doing quite a bit of damage.
And you can feel the tension going on this map, because any single play can just win the game. 33 minutes in, the death timers are so long. And with Baron spawning within the next minute, you know that it's going to revolve around that Baron. You know that the final fight is going to be decided on who is able to claim that. But look at the forward momentum coming through. The Drexel Dragons, they have the tempo, they have the map, they have the pressure. It's going to be on the Nighthawks to move forward and find the proper engages to be able to finally claim a decisive teamfight win.
Yeah, no, I mean, right now, Super Izzy looks really strong, has 4 items. But the thing is that Xayah for Vanilla is sitting at 4.5, already has the Executioners calling from earlier. So now, we'll probably work towards that Mortal Reminder. And for Drexel, it becomes a bit more difficult. They do have pressure on the Baron right now, controlling the bot lane. Does have teleport though. Might be looking to burn that if you are Drexel.
Black Oreo Cookie takes a bit of damage, but returns the favor. Glacial Fissure does go out. You're going to find the knockup, and they're going straight after Raw. Raw taking a lot of damage, but the ultimate comes out from the Yuumi, able to stall this engage that was coming out of the Nighthawks. 9,000, 8,000, 7,000 health remains on Baron, but the Nighthawks are starting to back off. I don't think they know what's going on. Black Oreo Cookie, he cannot get close enough to place a fresh ward, and Baron is going into the pocket of the Drexel Dragons. They might be looking to go for an engage as well, but no, instead going to back off. The recalls will go through. They'll take the hard reset. Meanwhile, the Nighthawks, they're looking to take the Elder.
Yeah, no, this might be the trade that they have to take. Croaker is teleporting into 5 people, though.
Ooh, straight into 5 people. Raul taking a lot of damage, gets stunned up twice. He's falling critically low, but here comes the rest of the squad. Control will have to pull off a miracle as he goes straight after the Sivir. They want to claim it, and they're gonna claim it. Now, Lake, Control, critically low with Raul standing at that beefy, healthful Lake. Tries to run, Raul will chop him down, and the rest of the squad of the Nighthawks forced to run away and just watch as the Drexel Dragons take this Elder Drake.
Yeah, you used everything onto Super Izzy here, but I mean, you still have a huge damage threat in Cha-Ching and Okami. The Elder Dragon is getting extremely low. You don't have Sejuani there. Vanilla starting to get low as well. They're just going to have to concede it. Yep.
No other way about it. Elder Drake will go to the Drexel Dragons. That's Baron plus Elder Drake. They're ready to fight. They're ready to siege. They're ready to close out game number 1. What defense do the Nighthawks have left?
I mean, right now you have the Rise wave clear. You have Xayah wave clear. So you have wave clear covered. But I don't know if they can take a fight. If they use everything onto Cha-Ching again, that will most likely result in the game. The Glacial Prison onto him didn't really result in anything. You had the Maokai sitting in the back, harassing the Xayah, and you allowed for Super Izzy to take the fight at the Baron. Then at Elder, again, Control and Lake go straight towards Super Izzy. They get the kill, but Okami is just in the back line, forcing everyone else out. They kill Lake, they kill Black Oreo Cookie, and after that, you can't really do much of anything. Okami is still able to carry the fight, even if Super Izzy is dead.
They look like they permanently have Ghost on how fast they're moving across this map, and Cha-Ching looking to try and find an engage, instead just trying to get some harassment, and this is going to be very tough for the Nighthawks. Their only saving grace is it's the first Infernal Drake. Not first Infernal, first Elder Drake, so it will be slightly shorter in the timer, and they can try and wait out that window, wait out that team fight that the Drexel Dragons are looking to take.
No, I mean, this game right now is in Drexel's hands, but the issue becomes one wrong move, and they will lose this game. Death timers are long enough to where if Vanilla or Control is left alive at the end of the fight, they can theoretically just push down and end this game.
And that's exactly what they're looking to do right here. You can see almost all 5 in the mid lane of the Drexel Dragons. They have a lot going for them. It's almost a full build Sivir. The Vladimir has just been feasting on the lives of everyone he sees fit. And Raul is at that early 2019 Scion point where he just walks around and doesn't die. He's just a tree. Good luck knocking him down because he's made of complete steel.
I mean, we saw him at that Baron fight. He was into 4 people, especially Vanilla, was putting everything he had into Raul and just couldn't do the damage. Yes, he has a lot of MR, but look at that Thornmail and look at that Sunfire Cape. It is just a lot of damage to deal with. And for the side of Wildfire, they're starting to run into the issue where, Lake, yes, he's tanky, yes, he can frontline, but he's just not outputting damage. And this is the issue that comes with this build. Most people just will go for the Righteous Glory and Adaptive Helm, but now going with that Frozen Heart, Lake has lost a lot of his damage, finally building an Amp Tome, That's basically the only other AP he has other than Seraph's Embrace, which is, again, 50 AP plus the passive, which right now is, what, 132? So it's not that much AP that he has to, output damage.
Now that the disconnect's over, pause comes to an end. It's looking to be the final siege out of the Drexel Dragons. They're going after inhibitor number 1. So much pressure onto the Nighthawks to try and play safe until this Elder Drake does time out. But Drexel Dragons, they're going to start going towards that bot lane tower, that bot lane inner. They want to deconstruct the base slowly and surely and be careful about it. They're able to get so much damage off of one Yuumi Q onto control and make it 2. Almost finding half his health. No choice but to back off.
Very interesting champion design right there, let me tell you. But again, this is what you want to see if you are Drexel. You want them to push the base slowly, take all the towers. That's going to be the bot inhibitor going down. Roll, looking to try to do something, not going to find anything. But that's going to be the bot lane inhibitor, now 2 inhibitors going down. And Drexel Dragons are poised to take this game.
Now they're now looking to set up towards that top side. One final inner tower before they get to that final inhibitor tower, and then eventually that final inhibitor. And there's not much that the Nighthawks can really do about it. Damage coming over the wall from Okami onto return. The rest of the squad is waiting in the sidelines. Start to move forward is the squad of the Nighthawks. They land the ultimate, but it will be onto Croaker. Meanwhile, top lane inner does go down. This is the final tower you have to defend before there's double supers knocking at your door. And the Nighthawks, they're looking to defend this, but they don't have that crucial engagement ultimate from Black Oreo Cookies. So this is going to be tough for them to find an engagement on. Getting a stun, getting a root, so much damage. On to Raul. Raul starting to get low. The stun looking to go through, but there goes the Hemoplague Vanilla. Able to jump up into the Feather Store, but Lake will go down. Raul will pick up that kill, and so far, so good. Control goes forward, looking to find Raul. He will not take a second rift walk forward. Raul is just too beefy.
Now, people wonder why Tree SM was such a thing. Jesus, Raul just lived through 10 tower shots and the entire team! They're all going down here!
Going forward, trying to find Black Oreo Cookies, not able to get him just yet. One more inhibitor left and it goes down. Double super minions in every single lane. It will have to be the defense of a lifetime for the Nighthawks to stay alive.
I mean, my God. Raul just eating everything right now, being the real MVP. Yes, he did mess up the early game massively with Cha-Ching, but right now, they are outputting damage and tanking damage like monsters right now. Vanilla can't get the damage onto him. Lake is doing basically negative damage at this point. He's basically there to heal Raul. And, Control, he wants to get into the backline, but if he walks forward, he's just going to get twisted advanced on, and he's just going to die instantly.
Oh, more and more that the Drexel Dragons just keep taking away from the Nighthawks. Nighthawks are doing their best to survive, but what can they really do? It's double supers in every single lane, and Baron will be spawning soon. They can't even respond to the Baron without giving up their Nexus towers, but look at this. The rotation coming out of the Drexel Dragons, just trying to establish as much vision as possible, but Cha-Ching is caught out. His Guardian Angel will be popped. The ultimate coming out of Rai. There goes the Glacial Fisher, able to get the knockup onto Cha-Ching, but here comes Control. They want to find Cha-Ching. The jungler's down, and finally a breath of fresh air coming through for the Nighthawks as they're able to claim 1 kill, and finally it cost them nothing but the super minions. They're at the base.
I mean, this is the only way that the Nighthawks can come back to this game is off of mistakes from Drexel. Baron is up. Elder is also spawning up soon. This is where they have to put their foot down. This is where Nighthawks need to shine. But this is going to be the Baron right now started up. Super Izzy doing a lot of damage. This is dangerous without a jungler, but there's just no idea for the side of Nighthawk or Wildfire here. Are they going to even contest this?
Oh, the Baron's going down, and it goes into the pocket of the Drexel Dragons. Raul able to burn his flash to get out of that, and being that frontline defense, just guarding his team, making sure no one gets anywhere close to that Baron. That's why the Drexel Dragons have it, but now Infernal, not Infernal, I keep calling it Infernal, Elder Drake is spawning. It is on the map. Grabbing this would be the final nail in the coffin, but Okami has mispositioned. Control gonna go for the engage. Okami's taking a lot of damage, but out comes the Hourglass. Now Control needs to run away. Damage onto Control, but not enough to take him down. Vanilla on the back line, trying to find what damage he can, but he has to back off because Kaching is going straight for him. Critically low is Vanilla. He will fall 2 for nothing exchange. And the Drexel Dragons, they get Baron, and they're gonna get the Infernal as well.
This will most likely be the game in theory here. 5 members alive for them. Lake trying to do something here. Flashes forward.
Oh, he's able to find Kaching. 1v1. Raul's gonna show up though. Remember, this is 4 times the Elder Drake. Look who's showing up. Okami from the sideline, locking down Lake to make sure there's nowhere for him to go as the root goes through. Lake does fall. They find another. Make it all 5. The Nighthawks are slain. Drexel Dragons for game number 1 after a 43-minute slugfest are able to take it. What do the Nighthawks have to respond to this?
This game, they have nothing. That's going to be 44 minutes into the game. Drexel Dragons are going to take game number 1. And this is why they're the top team in their division currently. You know, they've only lost 2 games total. They have yet to lose a series. And this is kind of why. You know, Raul and Kaching basically threw the early game single-handedly. Yes, they had 3 kills, but it was still 4-7 in favor of Wildfire here. I mean, it was just complete and utter disaster coming out from the Drexel Dragons early. But they did play around super Izzy. They played around the fact that Okami just needed 2 items, and that pushed them towards the win. They were able to grab objectives. They were able to rotate the map correctly. And they played off of the fact that Lake decided to go more of a tanky build. He wasn't able to wave clear as well as he should have. He wasn't able to take towers as well as he should have. And it just basically fell short for the side of Wildfire Night.
And it, on paper, it was an iffy composition to go for. But execution-wise, Drexel Dragons were able to pull it off. It was a rough early game, but it ultimately translated to victory as they got towards the late game and they got Raul to that unkillable moment. He just stood there. He could just be in anyone's way and there's not a darn thing you could really do about it. Meanwhile, over on the side of the Nighthawks, it felt like they had things going for them, but once the bot lane just got pushed in one too many times, once the kills slipped up into the wrong hands, it was just all downhill from there, and the Drexel Dragons were able to take it. Congratulations to them for game number 1, but this is a best of 3 series. There is some time left for adaption to come out of the Nighthawks, and we're going to find out if they can do that when we take a short break. We're going to
We're going to throw it over to a quick commercial break for you all. So if you would please just stick around for just a few moments. We'll be right back with game number 2 between these 2 fantastic teams. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to game number 2 between the Wildfire Nighthawks and the Drexel Dragons. My name is Orbital. I will be taking over for Desreps, who is having some internet issues, but I am joined here again with the lovely gentleman, as you do know, Sordo, who, after that game number 1, pretty back and forth, but overall Drexel Dragons obviously taking away, and now game number 2, they actually get all 5 bans.
Yeah, no, Drexel learning from last game, they're just going to get rid of the Rise and the Yuumi. Even though the Rise didn't do that much damage until that very late game, it was still a nuisance to deal with, especially towards that early mid-game. Vladimir also going to be respected and taken off the table. They do not want Wildfire to get those strong first picks. Sona, Victor, Elise, also taken off. Same bans that Wildfire Nighthawks did in the first game. Now that they get first pick, who are they going to take? Sivir's still on the table, and it's a very strong first pick if they choose to go with it.
It also doesn't give too much away whenever you pick an ADC, but again, they did have some success, as we saw before, with that Sejuani, that pick. Oreo Cookies had beautiful ganks, initiations that was able to catch people out. Unfortunately, the downside is you have to have a strong team backing it. You have to have strong laners, so we'll have to see what Wildfire and Nighthawks decide to draft alongside of it. Drexel Dragons, once again, hovering that Sivir, as you stated before. A great ADC pick, but this time they'll have to pair it with something else besides the Yuumi.
And I mean, she doesn't really need that much to be paired with her. As long as she's allowed to WQ the waves in the lane, it doesn't really matter who she's paired with. They could pick a Nami here. They could pick basically anything. Aatrox is a good flex pick to be picked up here in this first rotation. Silas still available. That's going to be the Aatrox lock in. So that can go top, that can go mid. I've seen it go jungle. I probably won't be there, but it could be. But
It definitely could, and if this does go top, we'll see a very different lane because Raul the Croaker on that top side had a splendid game on that Maokai. He was a big beef tank. We saw it before. You were pointing it out right at that top lane inhibitor tower push. He tanked all the damage. This time around on the Aatrox, you don't have that flexibility unless you get that assist or that takedown. So definitely a different look. If, as you stated, does go to the top lane, it could go mid or could go jungle. I'm thinking it's still going to be the flex, though.
yeah, no, definitely has a better matchups in the top lane. But the Kai'Sa Braum going to be the response to the Sivir. Pretty interesting here. Kai'Sa not having the best of times against Sivir, but can survive. And especially with the amount of CC that Wildfire has already drafted, she can get her plasma stacks very easily and also use her killer instinct off of it. So, not the worst thing, but Vi being hovered here. And I like this pick a lot coming out of the Drexel Dragons. Lots of engage. Gets really tanky, especially if you go that Aftershock. And for someone like Cha-Ching that really likes to go in, all you have to do is really press R onto the Kai'Sa, and there's not much that Wildfire can do. Yes, they can ult, but either way, Assault and Battery is still going to go through, and it's not going to be a fun time for the Kai'Sa. Zoe, taken off the table, God bless. I hate that champion. I will always be happy when it's banned. Papa bless.
Oh, that it is. But this also means that Drexel Dragons are now starting to pinch Control's mid lane picks. That is already 4 bans across the board against that mid lane pool, meaning they are confident, Drexel Dragons are confident in Okami's champion pool. We do see the Maokai ban and the Alistar immediate hover ban for Drexel Dragons, but Wildfire and Nighthawks really trying to pinch and make sure that Aatrox goes to the top side.
Yeah, no, true to that. I mean, Maokai was a very big problem for Wildfire. They just could not kill it. And I mean, that's why Tree SM was just such a powerful thing, right? And I will always refer back to it. Back when they always put Haunter on the Maokai, they're like, yeah, you know what? Just be an unkillable tank. We're probably not going to gank you. But, you know, the moment you hit 3 items, you shouldn't die anymore. So, you know, have fun. Go int the first, 20 minutes of the game and be that unkillable tank in the late game.
And people tend to forget that passive healing every 4 abilities, every 4 auto attacks, it's massive in that game-changing difference in those trades. It surprises a lot of people. So taking that away, but we do see Drexel Dragons going for almost a full-on hard engage composition, locking in that Nautilus, leaving that mid lane pick, obviously, towards that counter pick situation, unless that Aatrox is still a flex, but still, massive engage coming out of Drexel Dragons right now.
Yeah, no, definitely. And it really does depend what Wildfire decide to go with here. Kennen going to be locked in. Lots of engage here from Wildfire. They are building a very scary team fighting. The Nautilus also locked in for Drexel Dragons. A lot of disengage, but also a lot of engage with that dredge line and depth charge.
Yeah, very much so. And we're starting to see that filtering of both teams going for that head-to-head competition style. I feel like we're going to get a lot of those heavy team fights, brutal side, as Wildfire and Nighthawks have locked in the Azir to round out their a beautiful pickup to round out what is essentially a front-to-back composition.
Yeah, no. Azir has started to pick up steam in the meta, and we're starting to see more of these, Phoenix kinds of plays where, they're just making disgusting 1v4s under tower, doing the Shurima shuffle, pushing the entire team into them, and especially this game, if Control... Oh my god. Alright, I'll get to that in a second.
Yeah.
But if Control can Shurima shuffle into the Kennen Slicing Maelstrom, it is going to be devastating for the Drexel Dragons. And especially with the team comp that they did this time, there's not that much to protect Vanilla or Super Izzy in this game. So it kind of becomes a lot more difficult. And again, this is yet another game where Wildfire wins the draft, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to win the game.
It really doesn't. This time, though, I do like their chances just solely based on the fact that this time around, Drexel Dragons have a very much upfront, front-to-back team composition as well. Game number 1, we saw them skirmish a bit. You saw them have that, the Kane able to float between the jungle side and, picking off the backline players. Same on the side of Vladimir. Vladimir able to pop in, do a lot of damage and back right out. It's a lot more like guerrilla warfare. This time around, you have the Vi, you have the Nautilus, you have the Aatrox. These are 3 champions that no matter what are going to be in the middle of the enemy team, allowing Wildfire Nighthawks to possibly just lay down damage after damage on top of them. So we'll have to see if Drexel Dragons are going to play it a little bit differently, or if they're just going to go, hey, we won game number 1, let's just have an all-out skirmish.
I mean, the thing is, for the Drexel Dragons, if they build a lead, though, and they played the early game, pretty badly last game. Raw got dumpstered by Lake and Black Oreo Cookie. Cha-Ching just didn't get successful ganks off, got caught in the jungle. But if Raw gets ahead, if Cha-Ching gets ahead this game, it is going to be disastrous for the side of Wildfire here. Vi, very oppressive towards people like Sejuani went ahead. Aatrox, overall, just a very oppressive champion. Yes, you're facing the Kennen. Yes, it's a counter matchup. But if he's able to roam and get ahead against the Kennen will be no match for the Aatrox in this match. And then the one champion that we still have yet to talk about is this Vel'Koz pickup, which is probably the most interesting out of them all. Vel'Koz does have an okay match into the Azir, and if he's able to predict the Shurima shuffle with his E, he can stop a lot of the damage that Control wants to put out. But again, it's a very risky champion. The risk reward of it is not all there for Vel'Koz, but if he's able to get his death ray off onto 4 people while they're trying to deal with Croaker and Cha-Ching in the backline, it can be a very devastating ult. Not to mention that Super Izzy has been popping off on the Sivir. So if he's allowed to get towards those late game items, it is going to be devastating for the side of Wild.
Yeah, it really is. And I'm excited because, again, before you had that safety, Okami had that safety of the pool with the Vladimir. This time around, his positioning has to be on. And if it's not, then Drexel Dragons lose out on a lot of that preemptive damage, a lot of that strong disintegration ray damage. The true damage that comes from that beam is monstrous if it tags just one key player. But going down to that bottom lane one more time, I want to talk about it because Vanilla in return returned back on that Braum, but this time around Raijin on that Nautilus. We did see the Alistar hover, but opting for that Nautilus. Do you think we're gonna see this back and forth like we saw before? Do you think Drexel Dragons are gonna kind of push forward, or what do you think we're gonna see here?
I think it's more the fact that you just need to wait for Cha-Ching to come bot. The Sivir is still going to push into the Kai'Sa, not in the very early levels, but around level 4 and 5, when she gets all of her abilities and a second point into her Boomerang Blade. That's when she's going to start to push a lot into Vanilla. So as long as Super Izzy can wait out until she hits that point, she should be okay. For Raijin, though, it becomes a bit more of a challenge. If you hook return, you're going to eat a Winter's Bite to the face, and then the concussive blows afterwards. Kai'Sa very good at stacking those concussive blows fast. So it's going to be instant CC onto you. And the thing is, once Braum puts up that Unbreakable, it's damn near impossible to get damage onto the Kai'Sa unless you're just going to go full all in, which for the side of the Drexel Dragons does not look very good if you are the bot lane. Everywhere else on the map, go all in. You have the team comp for it. But with a Sivir Nautilus, you do need to play back for a little bit and hope to God that you can find picks onto Vanilla.
Yeah, we'll have to see if they can pull it off again. It was a close game number 1, but Drexel Dragons were able to eke out on top, so we'll have to see if they can do it in game number 2. But before we do get into game, I do want to talk about one of our fantastic sponsors, Kono. If you're looking to take your game to the next level, it all starts with your peripherals. From keyboards to keycaps, mice, and more, our friends at Kono have got you covered. Kono works with the world's best designers, inventors, and makers to bring you some of the best gaming peripherals around. Kono have been huge supporters of us here at Upsurge and have made generous contributions to our prize pools. So, if you need to find a new keyboard and more for your setup, we can't recommend anyone better than Kono. For more information, head over to kono.store to check out all they have to offer. That's KONO.store. Thank you very much. And so we will be getting into game number 2 here to see if Drexel Dragons are able to close it out in a 2-0, or if Nighthawks will be able to take a game and push it to a game number 3. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are here with the second game between the Drexel Dragons and the Wildfire Nighthawks. We do have a similar spread as we saw last time, so both teams going a little bit more defensive on that lineup.
Now just a 5-point spread early. Now, something to take note of. Ooh, first damage. That's always what you like.
Cheeky.
That breaks the passive. She will have it back up by the time the red buff spawns. But something to make note of is control and keystone. He did go Comet, which I'm starting to see a little bit. Same thing with Electrocute. I still am a strong believer that Lethal Tempo is still the best keystone for Azir. But, I mean, he will have a lot of poke. And especially into a lane like this, Okami does have a very large range advantage. So getting the poke onto him will not be the easiest thing to do. We'll have to see if he's going to be able to do basically anything into this lane without Black Oreo cookies there to help.
Sir, and we do have a standard start between the junglers. This time around, we don't see any cheesy business coming out of Cha-Ching. Standard bottom side start, getting help from both of their bottom lanes, so gonna be a quiet mirrored jungle clear.
Yeah, no, it's not like last game where we saw the cheeky invades coming out from Cha-Ching. But again, we're starting to see the push from Vanilla and Return, which is to be expected late. Also, getting hit up does avoid the Qs, which is massive, and that's really how you deny a lot from Raw this game, is just dodging those empowered Qs. But we already see that sly sack of gold in Lake's inventory, and that's really how he's going to build his lead in this lane.
Yeah, level 2 advance coming out from this bottom lane. Return and Vanilla trying to go hard on the aggressive, aren't able to stack up that concussive blows, and an immediate hook comes out. Doesn't land those, so Raijin gonna have to walk back now, and starting to see some aggressive moves coming out of both these bottom lanes.
I know, a little bit of aggression coming out. Bit of aggression in the top lane as well. Right now, the Kennen is just getting his Klepto off, which is very easy for him. He just uses his Q, hits the Aatrox, gets a proc, and then autos right after. Which we're starting to see more and more of. There we go, yeah. 3 Klepto procs. But Raw able to heal up with the passive. Even though it did get nerfed now, 24-second cooldown, it's still very useful in this lane. But just look at the inventory of a Lake right now. He has 3 sly sacks of gold, has the biscuit, has the ward. Right now just sitting pretty, but Cha-Ching is up there as well. Vanilla does get hit up, forced to use heal.
Oh, that was a big trade, but we see another gank on the top side. We see Kennen having to flash away, flash after as well. Cha-Ching actually was able to land the red buff. He's trying to go, but doesn't want to follow up under the towers. So, a good gank top jungle, but that was 2 flashes on the top side for Lake's 1. So, summoner advantage for Lake right now.
A pretty big misplay coming out from Cha-Ching. You should have known that he didn't have Q. And, you know, flashing does basically nothing for him there. So a bit of a misplay. They are trying their damnedest to get Lake behind. But right now he is sitting pretty good. Is down about 100 gold, but those sly sacks of gold are just going to put him ahead regardless.
Yeah, it's definitely going to hold true. And again, we did see in that mid lane, Oreo Cookies trying to walk around, get a little bit of pressure down in that mid lane. But we see another job on the top side. This could be First Blood coming in. That's a drag back, and that is going to be it. Just auto attacks him down. First Blood coming out for Raul on the top side.
Yeah, Lake wasn't able to get out of the Infernal Chain. So he is just going to go down there. Bit of a misplay coming out from him. But he does have a lot of gold to back with. So it's not the worst thing. Going to be able to teleport in and catch a majority of that wave, probably missing 2 or 3 minions at most.
And again, this is Drexel Dragons on the top side. Rel getting a First Blood once again. I wouldn't say as easily as last time, but definitely getting that first blood, getting that extra gold is very, very helpful. And Control actually getting hooked in that mid lane. We actually see a solid gank coming out, but Streamer shuffles just right out. A little bit of a slide there.
Yeah,
but good roam from Raijin.
Okami was way too far back in that lane, trying to bait it out correctly there. But, you know, good hook there by Raijin, but nothing really to come of it. Free poke gonna come out from Lake, but not gonna really result in much of anything. Does take part of the Q. Infernal Chains do go down on him.
Yeah, we do actually see a hook up there, but again, Lake just taking the brunt of it and is actually just going to try and shrug it off. Jungle-wise, but level 6 hit for Raul first, so we'll have to see how that pans out.
Yeah, already forced to use his 2 pot, so that does hurt his lane quite a bit.
Still no flash, so that does mean the third strike from Aatrox is not going to be flashed forward, so I feel okay there. But level 5 actually hit flash forward on the bottom side, though. Raijin saying he wants to go in. Concussive Blows does land, but he is so tanky right now in return. Gonna be taken down. The Unbreakable Shield is not there anymore. In comes Black Oreo, though, wanting a little bit of retribution. Good flash forward. Shield comes out as well, but that's going to be a trade kill. Oreo Cookies is on the hunt, gets another stack off, gets a stun, just a little bit of brutal damage. 1-for-1 trade off of an aggressive bot lane engage from Raijin.
Yeah, the Aftershock able to kill Super Izzy there. But I mean, it's not the worst thing to happen to Wildfire here. That it is the Braum. And they're gonna be popped here.
Yeah, Raul going a little bit ham right here. He needs to get this kill though, and he does. A solid tower dive, roll up 2-0.
Now we just get to see the snowball commence here. Already up 20 CS. Blue buff is going to go over to Okami. But Raul is going to be dominating the side lanes now. There's basically nothing that Lake can do into this anymore. You do see Braum here in the mid lane. Dragon is started up. Very risky Dragon here. They do have vision on it.
Yeah, and that pink ward actually didn't catch the ward earlier, so that does mean Cha-Ching is found out. Dashes over the wall, but immediately meets Control. Control as well, happy where he is, and that is a 4-man collapse. Gets the kill. Kaisa picking up her first of the game.
Still very dangerous, though. Aatrox porting in.
Yeah, on the hunt has been popped. A double knockout coming out of Okami seals the deal, not allowing anyone to flash if the flashes were available. But a solid 2 kills, and Vanilla now is going to attempt to steal with the Prey Seekers, I believe. Lands on Raijin, so that's gonna be Mountain Dragon going over to Drexel Dragons after a little bit of a skirmish.
Yeah, no, this is the complete 180 of last game. Raul not having the best early game last game, but now at 3-0, still up CS against the Kennen, has the red buff.
Oh, this could be really bad. Both flashes are up as well. Jump forward, slams him down. One auto attack goes out. Lake still has his flash, but flash is too late, and Lake goes down for his 3rd death. Unfortunate right there.
I don't even think that's unfortunate. That's just greedy. Like 100%. I have no sympathy there for Lake. That's just a misplay, not respect. Like, the Aatrox is 3-0. How are you not going to respect the Aatrox damage there? Especially when you see him stanced like that. You know he has his passive. And you flash the moment he gets the auto attack off. You flash the moment he flashes. And you live there. But now instead you die and still burn your flash.
And unlike what happened in game number 1, we do see a big issue, but here comes the Depth Shards, knocks up both, that doesn't get blocked. Oh, Dredgeline does miss, so that does mean the battle, but no, the Boomerang does land, and Return goes down. His 3rd death of the game, and that's going to be another one. Oh no, Vanilla walked up a little bit too close, and Raijin is going to seal that one for himself. Bot lane going 2-0.
This is literally just a game of disrespect. I don't know what the heck Nightwing, or Wildfire Nighthawk is doing here. I mean, you see your Braum die, you just back off. You know that Raijin still has Ignite, yet you still walk up to just get autoed by him. Very questionable, and it definitely does not look like the team that brought it to, what, 43 minutes last game?
Yeah. Oh, we see another one in that mid lane, but a good Emperor's Divide, actually a huge stream, a shuffle makes it work. He does go down, but this could secure 2 kills for them. No, Oreo Cookies isn't able to kill Apokami, but they are going to get a 1-for-1 trade. That was a slide move from Control, able to net them a 1-for-1 trade.
Yeah, and I mean, the Vi was the one person. Kaching did not have a shutdown, neither does Okami. So it's not the worst death to happen. You do get the return kill on to Azir, so it does work out for you. Still a massive lead sitting at about 3.3k, almost 4k now in favor of the Drexel Dragons, and they are looking like a dangerous team. Sivir finishing up the Essence Reaver, has Cull as well. Once that's done, she's going to get a lot of gold income back.
Yeah, and both of the supports just kind of meet up and say hello. Raiden getting the better of the trade here, but Control on returns back right now, allowing him support to help clear out some wards. I do want to go back to the gold difference, though, solely because I want to state that most of the gold is in Raul's top pocket. Dodges out of that hook, but it does land, so Control now in the middle of a bad situation. Stuck between a rock and a hard place, goes down. Second death of the game here. Death charge is used. Return. Gonna be the second possible death. But no, flashes off the wall, able to get out, and the glacial fissure does go a little bit wide, but the slow is still there. Hook also goes a little bit wide, and now Raijin caught on the wrong side, has to flash away. Super Izzy on that side, but oh, the dash into the flash. Such a good play from Chaching. Read that, or luck, whichever one you want to call it. Gonna be a solid counter gank there, and Black Oreo is gonna try and dash on the tower, does land the glacial prison, but that doesn't mean anything as Chaching walks out alive.
I mean, misplay. Oh my goodness, not like this, not like this.
Oh, Lake
eats family. Cool,
I have to agree, the electrocute chunking Lake out, popping those potions as much as possible. He's trying, and that is going to be a solid setup there, Raul. We've seen this before. This is deja vu from about 5 minutes earlier in the game. He's waiting for a few cooldowns. Just gonna jump right in. Doesn't land the second sweep though, so that does mean he has to wait for a little bit longer. Could be dangerous here. He's dancing a little bit too much. There they go. Walks up one more time as the bot lane tower does go down. They collected all 5 plates off that tower. So that's going to be a solid one there. Meanwhile, no plates have been taken by the side of Wildfire Nighthawks. This is dangerous for them as the gold lead is now nigh impossible to overcome without some mistakes from Drexel Dragons.
I mean, gold lead is going to be hovering around 8k, 13 minutes in. Oh my goodness, Lake just eating damage like it's no one's business. Black Cookies is here, or Black Oreo Cookies is here.
Yeah, World Ender has been popped. They are trying to dash in. Remember, he has to get a kill somewhere or an assist. The rest of the team is there trying to back him up. Oh, good stun goes out. They might get him down. He does heal. He barely heals. He's got to survive.
Are you kidding me?
And Chaching now with the solid pressure is able to keep his top laner alive. They still want to keep going. Salt and Battery is not up yet. Ultimate comes out. Dreadgiant lands, and that's going to be Oreo Cookies knocked up. Ignite goes down as well. Meanwhile, the rest of the team is here. Super Izzy there with the Boomerang's control in the middle here. Misses the Emperor's Divide. This is going to be dangerous. He doesn't have flash to get out. He's going to be the sacrificial lamb. Return caught into the Disintegration Ray. Isn't going to go down, though. Dredgeline misses. But a 2-for-0, and Raul lives. Amazing job from Drexel Dragons.
Raul, I swear to you, is the Carson Wentz of this team. You think he's going to go down, just managed to slip by everyone and goes in. Oh my goodness, just disgusting. I mean, right now, this is where you put that question mark in all chat, just everyone in solo queue. They just sent 5 people up towards that top lane. Raul plays it beautifully, and his team, the Drexel Dragons, ends up picking up 2 kills in return. The tower goes down mid. They get the Rift Herald. Now a 10k gold lead. One of the biggest gold leads we have seen in the Upsurge leagues this summer split at 15 minutes into the game.
Absolutely terrifying to think about. And to think in the first game they lost all 5 bans, and this is what they can kind of do. when they're allowed to tailor the enemy's composition to the way that they want. They were allowed 5 bans this time. They were allowed to really focus fire the lanes that they wanted to, able to choke that mid lane out as well, I feel. Control, obviously, Azir, very strong champion, but obviously has some weaknesses that you can exploit. And honestly, Drexel Dragons abuse every single lane from top to mid to bottom lane and are outmaneuvering Wildfire Nighthawks right now.
It's kind of just disgusting what they were able to do this game. Oh no. No, not like this. Not like this. Don't do it to him.
He lands the slow, and the Slicing Maelstrom has been popped, but here comes Oreo Cookies trying to help out. Might get it down, and he actually gets the stopwatch off in time, but the slam is there. Raul dunks his 5th kill of the game. Meanwhile, a slow coming out of Okami. Oh, Glacial Fissure stops a premature Disintegration Ray. So gonna be a solid play there. Keep him alive, but again, Raul catching Lake out unaware. Takes him down.
This is just going from bad to worse. Speaking of bad to worse.
Yeah, super Izzy actually gets knocked with the concussive blows, but a good body block coming out of Ching. Killer Instinct is there, does collect 1, but that's a 1-for-1 trade so far. Ching is full health returned, gets another sack of concussive blows, is trying to walk away, but he's going to go down. Aatrox teleporting in, but Vanilla is out right now. That is going to mean that they're just going to try and hard push this, as it is a 2-2 split right now. Mid and bottom lane both having a shove potential. It's going to be overall, again, Drexel Dragons coming out on top.
I mean, you get the shutdown from the Sivir, cool. You're still down 11k. You're down 11k, 17 minutes. I don't really like to say that games are over, but unless someone's monitor turns off, you know, the cat comes in and pulls the wires, this game is just all but over. Aatrox, just a monster right now. 1.5 items off. Goodbye. See ya. Bye-bye. You know, Mordekaiser's not in the game, but, you know, still sending people to the Shadow Realm. It don't matter.
That is so true. We weren't even able to talk about it. Just an immediate explosion. Okami laying everything on the line there. And I just want to talk about the bounties on the list. We have upwards of about, I want to say, I believe that is 1,800 gold in just bounty rewards. That is insane to think about.
Yeah, 1,900 right now. Oh my
Now
God.
it just bumped to, oh my lord.
And then you times that 3 times 4, so that's another 1,200 gold because they get all the kills, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, even with that, like, okay, you maybe cut the deficit by like 20%. You still don't get back into the game like that. You just need constant throws. The gold lead now at 12k. It's just very difficult, to say the least, for the side of Wildfire Nighthawks here. Everything's just, oh my Christ. Oh, just so much damage.
Yeah, a hook actually lands on the Oreo Cookies and another shot goes out. They're looking for that damage right there. Oreo Cookies, supposedly the tankiest member, hasn't even completed 1 item. Cha-Ching actually jumps in as well. World Ender has been popped. Glacial Fissure knocks everyone up as the depth charge lands as well. This is a split fight, and return goes down just as Control does as well. This is a clean wipe here as Vanilla, trying to run away, does flash out. But a 3 for 0, sorry, it is 3 for 0 inside of their own base. That is so devastating at only 19.
Yeah, diving the T2, then diving the inhibitor tower, now taking the bot lane inhibitor. This game, again, all but over. Just everyone on the side of Wildfire Nighthawks here. Everyone except for Vanilla here is having a really bad time, and even Vanilla, you just can't do anything. There's just nothing you can really talk about here. Just the gold lead is so astronomically large. It's kind of comedic. It's gonna be the teleport there. Cannon going in, but
yeah,
I don't know about this one.
He was able to pull off a nice slicing Maelstrom to Zanya's, but that's about all they get. So that was a nice stalling tactic, able to push everyone out. So they have succeeded, but a solid shot. Okami with that geometry lands the kill. Now they go again. A good Shuriva shuffle though lands. Emperor Divide does claim one as Sigourney picks that up, but the rest of the team is still low health. They want to get a few more kills. Bounties are being collected. Vanilla landing all of the shots here, but not going to be enough to claim another couple kills. Have collected one. Prey Seekers finds a mark. But again, just one kill for all that work.
I mean, if you want to rub salt in the we can really rub salt in the wounds here. Super Izzy didn't even have a bounty on her.
Oh, that's the one that didn't have a bounty.
Oh my god, that's just whoo! That's honestly the kick in the nuts at this point. Just like, we killed someone, nice, we get extra gold. Oh, by the way, that person doesn't have on them.
Yeah.
Like, jeez, how unlucky can you get? Another tower going down in the top lane. Gold lead sitting at 14.5k. This is yikes right now. A little bit.
Just a little, and
actually it's 15.5, my bad.
Oh man. But this does give us a chance because it all started in that early game. We had said that Drexel Dragons had a little bit of a rough start in the first game. They seemed to be caught out unawares in certain areas. This game, they cleaned it up, and it was seamless. From the micro level play, from individual laning prowess, they seamlessly transitioned into that macro tower pushing strategy, and I have to commend them. It was flawless in their way that allowed them to force their way into the enemy base in just 20 minutes.
I mean, it all started with Rawl. He was able to find the solo kill onto Lake, and it just snowballed from there. Again, Aatrox is a very oppressive champion when he gets ahead. He was able to get that lead, teleport to the dragon, get a lead for the rest of his team, then continue to push his lead into the top lane, dealing with 2v1s, doing that amazing play at the T1 tower towards the top. And I mean, what can you say? He's basically the magician here, making it all come together and just disappearing by the time it's over.
I have to agree, and it's scary for any other team as they do actually go all the way in. That's going to be a massive Death Stars lands on the 2, and that's going to be a slicing maelstrom to reveal. Emperor's Divide does catch a few, but the Disintegration Ray is enough. 2 for 0 so far, or 2 for 1, 2 for 2 actually right there. Again, Sivir picks up the third. Oh, in goes the Assault and Battery into the back line. Vanilla trying to dance it away, is not going to be able to survive. That is going to be the Boomerang picking it up. 4 for 3 in favor of Drexel Dragons, but that's all they need as they have the Baron. They have their 2 carries, and they say, we'll just power down the rest of the towers as they claim a 2-0 series.
Yeah, I mean, this is why they're the top of their division. Ooh, barely surviving their Black Warrior case. They had 23-10 into the game. It's probably going to be over.
Yeah,
it's another kill
with their
on
food.
Jersey. Yeah, and that's just going to be the game. 23.5 minutes, give or take, into game number 2. Drexel Dragons are going to take the series in a decisive game, too. It really just wasn't a contest, this one.
It really wasn't, and you have to sit back and think, you know, what was it that went wrong? Yes, we touched on top lane, Raul getting amazing solo kills onto Lake, and it's just, how do you contest with this type of advantage? Because we've seen Raul both times, you know, he played a tank in the first game, did quite well, and then in the second game, picked up the Aatrox, has done extremely well. What would you even say would be a weak point of this team?
I mean, the only weak point that they seemingly had was the early game from game number 1 where Cha-Ching and Raul the Croaker just messed up. But I mean, this game, they showed how dominant they can be. Right now, the only point that can be exposed is maybe Cha-Ching with his early game decisions. But, you know, if you don't have anyone to capitalize on the mistakes that he's doing, then what can you really do? And I mean, this is why Drexel Dragons is sitting at, what, 4-0 in series, and now 8-2 in games, sitting at the top of the division, clearly the best team here right now as it stands. So all the other teams should be, you know, quivering in their boots if they have the dragon in their roster, in their games.
I would have to agree, and I do want to get your opinion. I feel I know who you're going to say, but to close it out, who do you think is the MVP of this series?
Even though Super Izzy and Okami did really well in their roles, it has to go to Roll. He just soaked up so much damage in game number 1. Even though he did mess up early, this game he just made up for it. 7-0-3. Fourth most gold on his team, actually, because everyone else just decided to come off of his back, doing 13k damage. Just overall a monster, had so much presence and got everyone ahead in this game that you just have to give it over to him.
We really do. So we're all the MVP of this series. But again, that is going to be it for us here at the desk. So once again, thank you so much for tuning in, and tune in tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern time for the Upsurge Contenders League stream match. So more content there. So have a fantastic night.